Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
We hope your 2012 is going along very well.
Indeed.
What do you got there, Steve?
Mr. Beer Variety Pack. Oh my God!
Now, the eyebrows of many homebrewers across the country just hit the ceiling.
Well, scrape yourselves down. But we know that a lot of folks out there got Mr. Beer kits for Christmas.
That's right. That's why we're doing it. Mr. Beer is a seasonal item, and they sell a ton
That's right.
of kits, and mostly to people who have never homebrewed in their life.
Yep.
And they may think that Mr. Beer is all there is to homebrewing.
Yes, and and if you got a Mr. Beer kit, it means you probably like good beer. Mm-hmm. What we don't want you to do is make your first batch of beer with the Mr. Beer kit and go, this is homebrewing?
Yeah.
So,
because the Mr. Beer kit, the ingredients that come, or the recipe that comes with the Mr. Beer kit, it's okay. You know, our Miller Lite friends really liked it.
we like those people dearly.
But we like something a little more adventurous.
Yes.
Now, number one, there's a lot of people out there who have gotten Mr. Beer kits for Christmas. Number two, right now at the first of the year, Mr. Beer stuff is on sale.
Yeah, that's true.
So I picked that up at Sears for a pretty good discount. So in the variety pack, let's open it up and see what we got.
All right. So a variety pack means 3 different brews.
Right.
This is a Whispering Wheat Hefeweizen, or
Right.
just Weizen beer. It doesn't say Hefe. And this is a Vienna Lager, and you've got another Vienna Lager.
That's right.
Not a lot of variety
the
here.
The kit was supposed to have a Canadian ale in it, but it didn't. It had 2 of the Oktoberfests. Now, the good news is that I went on the Mr. Beer site, and I contacted a live chat person, and she said, we'll fix that. We'll send you the one that you don't have. So kudos to the Mr. Beer folks for fixing that.
That's right. And underneath this special Mr. Beer lid is a special Mr. Beer yeast pack.
That's right. And I asked, while I was on the line asking about my missing Canadian ale thing, I asked, what is the yeast? What is the specific strain of yeast? And she said, it's a proprietary dry ale strain that's clean fermenting and general purpose. So it can be used in English or American styles or even wit beers. So we use it because it's very consistent and strong. So, fair enough. So it's a proprietary strain, but one that we don't really know the characteristics of. So, one thing that we're going to do to kind of kick the recipe up a notch is to use a yeast that we do know about. And this is a Saf Ale US-05, which is good we love it for pale ales. It's a dry yeast. It's a good known quantity, so to speak, or known yeast to us. Right. Now, the interesting thing is that you can buy this yeast on the Mr. Beer site, and you can buy the hops that we're going to use on the Mr. Beer site. But there's something that you can't buy. And what else? Now, the can, by the way, is malt extract. It is hopped malt extract, so the bitterness is already in the extract.
Right.
What else we got?
We've also got a booster pack. It boosts alcohol and body, which means it's got fermentable and non-fermentable sugars in here.
Do you want to know exactly what's in them?
I'd love to know exactly what's in there.
According to the Mr. Beer site, the booster is made from corn syrup solids and is ideally suited, so they say, for use as a brewing adjunct. It provides a full and balanced range of both fermentable and unfermentable sugars that's designed to mimic the carbohydrate profile of an all-malt wort, consisting of 8% glucose, 56% maltose, 16% maltotriose, and 20% dextrins.
So my point here is that why would we want to mimic an all-malt beer when we can make an all-malt beer?
That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to step it up a notch today, and we're going to do a partial mash. So we're actually going to do part of the wort, the unfermented beer, as an all-grain beer. And what do we have here as the grains?
This is a two-row base malt. So this is the standard malt that you would use to make almost any beer as your base malt, or you could.
It's very versatile.
Very versatile. This is what's going to give us mostly our fermentable sugars.
Right.
The other grain that's here is a 60 Lovibond. 60 Lovibond, that refers to how kind of darkly it's been roasted. Specialty grain, which is used to create body, mouthfeel, and flavor. And so these will be the grains that will replace this.
Right. We're doing doing pale malt and crystal malt to add flavor, fermentables, body, color, and really kind of make it an all malt beer as opposed to half corn stuff and half malt.
And then we'll also kick up the flavor by adding 2 additional hop additions. 2 additional hop additions. How do you like that? I gotta get a new writer.
But we've got 2 American hops here. We've got Amarillo and Simcoe. And we're going to add those at the end of the boil to give lots of nice citrusy, fruity, grapefruity flavors and aromas.
Now I happen to know, and you probably do too, that these are very high alpha acid hops.
Can be.
So they have the potential to add a lot of bitterness. And you want to be careful not to put these in too soon. So don't get ahead of yourself and drop these in at the beginning of this boil, or you'll extract all the bitterness that these guys have in them too, which sometimes you want to do.
Yeah.
In this case, you don't, because the malt extract already has the bittering in it.
Good point.
And if you add more bittering, you're going to have a beer that's out of balance at best.
Right.
So James's point about saying to add that at the very end of the boil is important. You'll extract the flavor and the aroma from the hop, which is a good thing, without getting a lot of extra bitterness.
Now, inside the kit is also one step, which is the sanitizer that Mr. Beer uses. And we're just going to use that. We're going to use the Mr. Beer fermenter. We're going to use the instructions that came with the Mr. Beer kit. And we're going to ferment it as Mr. Beer recommends. We're going to bottle it as Mr. Beer recommends. The only part that we're going to change is up front.
Right.
Now, don't be intimidated by all this.
It looks like a lot of pots and pans, and it is. But it's very simple.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna take you step by step through the process to kind of take the intimidation out of it, and I think it'll take longer than if you were just to do the steeping method that the Mr. Beer kit employs. But I think that you'll get a more sort of authentic homebrewing experience, and we hope that you'll get a better flavor.
Well, we know you will.
So we're going to use, since we don't have the pale ale extract, we're going to use the wheat beer extract, and we're going to make a nice American hoppy wheat beer.
With our, this makes approximately 2 gallons. Shall we make approximately 2 gallons?
We'll try.
All right.
So here we go.
Let's get to work.
So first, you have to heat 3 quarts or 2.8 liters of filtered or bottled water to 166 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 C. You add your milled grains. You'll have to get the grains milled at the homebrew shop. 2 pounds or 0.9 kilograms of two-row, 4 ounces or 113 grams of 60 Lovibond Crystal. Mix well and cover.
Yep. And then you let that mash for an hour.
Yep, you need to stir that in so you don't get the dough balls.
Nobody likes that.
Now, while the mash is resting, while the starchers are being converted to sugar by the enzymes, bring 2 quarts or 1.9 liters of water to 170 degrees Fahrenheit or 77 C.
Yep. And now if you've done that, then you take, after about an hour, you scoop your grain into a colander, which is over your second pot.
That's right. So you've mashed for an hour, all the starches have been converted to sugars, and we are going to extract the wort, the unfermented beer. So we will, after you have scooped your grain into the colander, you could squish it every now and then to get the wort out. You gently pour the wort from the first pot over the grains.
So you're going to sparge the grain with the remaining hot water until the level in the pot is as close to a gallon.
So it may be easier to do with a bigger pot, but we wanted to do pots that were similar size to what you may have at home. So it took 2 of us to do the sparging. I held the colander, and Steve poured the water over and squished the grains a bit more to collect our wort. So now we need to bring the wort up to boiling, and it's very important to be careful during the boil.
Yes, it is, because you could get a boil over. And this stuff is really sweet and sticky, so don't let it boil over.
So watch it closely, stir it often, And then once it gets to boiling, set a timer for 1 hour.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be boiling really, really hard.
Right.
You just need a nice, firm simmer.
Right. So while it's boiling, sanitize your Mr. Beer fermenter according to the instructions. And once that's done and drained, you add 1 gallon or 3.8 liters of water to the fermenter.
And then about 10 minutes before the end of the boil, you'll want to add your Mr. Beer malt extract and stir it up really good. You don't want it to sit on the bottom and scorch.
Yeah, that's going to be heavy. It's going to sink, so you want to stir it. And then Steve has a neat trick where he very carefully, because it's boiling water, or boiling wort, he takes a cup and pours it in the can, swirls it around, and pours it back into the pot. That way you get all that sticky, sugary goodness.
Yep, and you want to be careful because you can really get burned. So careful with that hot water.
And then 5 minutes before the end of the boil, that's 55 minutes into it, you add your hops. We added half an ounce or 14 grams each of Amarillo and Simcoe hops. Or you can substitute your favorite hops for that. And that's going to give you nice flavor and aroma.
Yep. And then at the end of the boil, you want to chill the pot with an ice bath. So you'll stir it occasionally with a sanitized spoon. Everything has to be sanitized now that touches that wort.
That's right.
And this will cause what's called a protein cold break.
Yeah, that's right. You'll see some coagulation of some stuff in there. It's normal. Don't worry. And when you can use either a sanitized thermometer that you stick in the wort, or used a fancy infrared thermometer. When the wort reaches room temperature, you take the pot out of the ice bath and allow that trub to settle a bit.
That's right. And then you'll want to add the wort to the fermenter. You'll want to leave most of the hop debris with the trub. That's all the stuff that you see, with all the trub behind. Now you won't get every last little bit of liquid.
Yeah.
So leave a little bit. It's okay.
After you add that wort to the fermenter, you top off with more water to that 2-gallon mark on the side of the fermenter, just as the instructions say in the Mr. Beer kit. Then you stir with a sanitized spoon and sprinkle half a packet of Safale USO5 yeast onto the wort. And after that yeast hydrates and falls down into the solution, you stir it again, and then you can just follow the instructions that you get with the Mr. Beer kit on fermentation and bottling. So there you go.
Well, that was so easy. It looked like we had a lot of pots. It was going to be a big deal, but it's really not.
Right. Once you do it step by step like that, it makes sense.
Perfect sense.
So now what we've got is a beer or a wort. Well, it's a beer. It's got yeast in it. Now it's a beer.
Yeah.
It's going to ferment for a week or so. But what we've got now is half of the fermentables, half of the sugars have come from the malt extract, which is basically wort with most of the water taken out. And the other half, instead of coming from that booster packet, it's coming from real live all grain beer.
So your beer will be more malty. It will have more flavor. It will have more mouthfeel. It'll just be better all the way around.
We hope so. And we will we'll check back and let you know how it went. Now, we have to say that nothing that we have said has been analyzed or endorsed by the Mr. Beer Company. Look at this as a product review.
That's right.
And all of the trademarks, all the Mr. Beer logos and all the beer, Mr. Beer names and trademarks, they are property of the Mr. Beer Company.
Right. And so this isn't an endorsement.
We're not endorsing it. We're just showing you a take
review
on how you can do it.
That's right.
That's from the legal department.
At Basic Brewing Video, 2 offices worldwide.
So I know that there are a lot of people out there who have Mr. Beer kits, who use them in creative ways. And this will give you an idea of something that you can do. And check back here in a few weeks and we'll come back and let you know how it turned out.
Happy brewing.
Cheers, everybody. Come and visit us on the web. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archived lists of both our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, Introduction to Wine Kits, and for a limited time, our 2012 Brewer's Logbook. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Write to James at basicbrewing.com, Steve at basicbrewing.com, or just use the contact form on basicbrewing.com.
You can get arrested for being a pupple rustler.
Oh, what?
I don't know. A pupple rustler.